is Claudia Mendoza, and I went to Victoria College here in Victoria, Texas, right after I graduated high school. And then I stopped because I was a single parent. And then I went back to the University of Houston in Victoria to get my teaching degree. I got my bachelor's degree in Victoria, and I taught for 14 years. And then I needed a change, so I went to grad school for speech therapy, and I attended the distance venue program through Texas Lutheran University in Denton. That was in May 2019 that I graduated.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Sophia Alvarado. I started going to college. I went to St. Philip's for 2 years. I did the 2+2 plan. I transferred over to UTSA to study interdisciplinary studies. I graduated with a bachelor's degree. I graduated summa cum laude. I was very proud of myself for doing that because in high school I really didn't achieve too much, except being crazy over boys. But I really felt at home there. The people were very friendly, very nice. The classes were small. I really enjoyed going to that school. I got attached to a lot of people, a lot of my professors. It was really good. I had a lot of help when I went to the one that was just down the street. The ladies that worked in the office offered me a lot of help and guidance because I didn't go to college like right after high school like a lot of kids do.
Right.
I was lost. I didn't really have guidance to say, hey, are you going to go to school or what are you going to do with your life? I really didn't know. I waited until my youngest son started going to school, and then I decided, well, I'm going to go to school too, because what if something happens and I have to take care of myself? I would have no skills or anything to do any job or whatever. So when he started school, then I would try to get classes while he was in school. So we would sit and do homework at the same time. A lot of my homework seemed to go on for longer than his. Yeah, so then I transferred over to UTSA, and I really loved a lot of teachers. Once I got into my actual teaching classes, the professors were amazing, and that's my alma mater, my college that I went to that I'm pretty proud to say.
My name is Carlos Gilbert. I professionally go by my first name, Joseph. I graduated from UTSA with my master's in 2019. So in 2019 last year. And I got my undergrad in 2015 from UTSA as well in psychology. And so my bachelor's in psychology, my master's is in educational psychology.
Okay, well, my name is Arnulfo Reyes. I attended Soros University Rio Grande College here in Uvalde. And I majored in interdisciplinary studies, which is teaching.
What was your first gen experience like at your college?
It was, for me, I started in community college, so I don't know if that has any impact on it. But when I went to UTSA, it was kind of a big culture factor because they do have a wide diversity of students that go there. So it's like you see all different types of cultures there. Being first generation, it was tough just getting into school because I really didn't have much guidance on like financial aid, what you have to do for registration, because like my parents didn't go to school, so they didn't have to deal with that. So being part of that, being a first generation student, being like the only out of 4 kids going to college at a university was tough. It separated me from my family a lot because before that I was always home and did a lot of things with family. And then once I went to university, it took a lot of time. I had to go to the library a lot to study, being in school 3 or 4 days a week, and then even on weekends I'd have to go to the campus. So it was tough, just in that aspect of it. It didn't separate us too much, but like just physically, just the time consuming factor of being in college was tough.
I guess the goal for me, it was just like a big goal. There was something that is just, I have to do this for myself. I need to go to college and I need to get a bachelor's degree, because we're always telling our kids, you need to go to college, you need to go to college. Well, you know, I needed to be an example for my child to say, okay, mom went, she did it, I can do it too. So that was one of the main reasons. That was another main reason why I decided to go to college. So that way my youngest son could see, look, mom's working really hard. She's trying to get a degree and stuff. Being the first time going into college, I was scared. And of course, being older, and most of the kids in the class are really young. You're just kind of looking around going, hey, can I do this? I was like, yeah, you can do this. And, you know, just little steps at a time. I didn't take a whole lot of hours all at once because it was too much for me to do with a kid and doing college work and stuff, and then making sure he's doing his homework and that. So yeah, it was pretty nerve-wracking, but it was also exciting. Being, you know, heading towards getting a degree for something for my future, and then hopefully being a change in some child's life.
Yes, but it felt good because I was attending college and I knew that I would be doing something for myself, and not only to benefit myself but also for my family. My family being my mother and you know, and my relatives, my sisters, my nieces, and that kind of sort of thing.
So for my parents, it was just like, go to college, go to college, go to college.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. But I really didn't know what it was going to entail. I just knew it was something that I had to do. So I remember like on a lot of the questions for like registration, it would ask, you know, like highest level of education of your parents. I just felt really lost. And well, back when I graduated high school, I just don't feel like my high school prepared me enough. So I was kind of like on my own. And then so by the time I got to the University of Houston in Victoria, I kind of had a better sense of it. And then when I got my master's, of course, it was still that same thing. Like, even though I was older, I knew my parents were like, go as far as you can go. And so, I mean, I had a better feel for it as far as like at that point. But at the beginning, I had no idea like what it was going to be like. And I don't remember any, it was been so long ago, I don't remember anyone, you know, accommodating for something like that. I don't remember. Maybe they did. I'm not saying they didn't. So it was a learning experience as I went along.
How did your college accommodate for first generation students, if at all?
Well, this is a non-traditional college, which receives a lot of their students that are older, actually. You do have some of the newer younger generation, but not as much as you would have your older generations, due to the fact that this is here in town and this is probably some place that they want to leave, so to go attend a college somewhere else. And so this is like, you know, you're working and you're attending college at the same time, so you do want both. But you know, I guess I would say, you know, some of us didn't get to do that, experience that, just due to, you know, work or, you know, having to help provide for the family. So this does provide the opportunity for non-traditional students that you would normally have at a college.
I don't think they had anything. I don't remember them ever saying anything, you know, like, oh, you're first generation and your family come. No, I don't think they offered anything or did anything like that for us.
I kind of like found out a lot of things as I went along. And they're like, oh, well, you should have asked, or not should have asked, but, you know, oh, yes, we have this information for you. So I don't know if I wasn't looking in the right direction, or I wasn't at this place where I was supposed to be, to where they're like, oh, here's this information for this kind of thing. So
Right.
I wish I could remember more. That was such a long time ago.
Honestly, they didn't really accommodate. With honestly, the first couple of years I was at UTSA, because it did take me a long time to get through it, and that's because mainly they didn't accommodate. So like, as I said, like with going as a first-time student or first-time generation or whatever, I didn't have much guidance, and so UTSA didn't really do that well. Not to bash on them or anything, but in general, Alumni colleges as well didn't do very well in guiding me through the steps of what classes I have to take, what prerequisites I have to take. So a lot of my classes were either unnecessary, or I had to retake them to make sure they met with my degree. So that was a tough part. So I really can't say my schools that I went to did accommodate for first generation.
How did you feel being first gen on your campus?
I'm already getting emotional. I'm not even answering the question yet. I guess I just felt proud. I just think about Poppy, and I wish he would have been there. And it's just being proud. It's just, leading the way, and hopefully others will follow, or my nieces or nephews will follow. My kids, of course, hopefully they would follow and say, look, she did it, and she worked really hard, and so I think that's what I was more just proud than. And of course, yes, I was nervous because you're walking on. I didn't know anybody. I didn't really have any friends. I mean, I did make a lot of friends at St. Philip's, but they didn't transfer over to UTSA.
Yeah.
Some of them did, but not, for the same thing. Once I transferred over into UTSA, that's when, you go into your actual course classes for your degree. And I eventually did make some friends, and that helped some. It was a big campus, and then for me to have to drive like downtown to go to class was pretty nerve-wracking, because I don't like to drive. It was just mostly being proud and saying, I can do this. I can do this for myself. I can be an example to and in my family.
My very first one at Victoria College in the university, well, that one, it was more like a routine. This is what I'm supposed to do. So I don't think it was until I actually started getting more serious towards the end of my bachelor's degree to where I felt very proud,
Right.
that I've done this for my family. And then like even more when the master's came along and I finished that. I mean, because I was in my 40s when I finished my master's, and by that time my dad had passed away, but my mom, like, she would wear like the TWU t-shirt, and she was just, TWU mom, and we drove all the way to Denton for graduation, and it's just such a proud feeling, just proud that I could do that, and not only for myself but for my family,
Right.
And just kind of like, this is the trend now, so I want, and I want to be able to like help my kids, and okay, oh yeah, here, you can do this, just kind of give them that little more feedback and a little bit more sense of direction.
Honestly, being on campus, I really never thought of myself as first generation, because I know I've been one, or I know I was one. Like, honestly, going on campus, I really didn't take pride while I was in school, while I was in college. I didn't really take pride in being the first generation. I was just there just to get an education, to do something. So being in school, being the first generation, I really never took pride until, like, after you graduate, like now you reflect on it, like, hey, I actually, this is something that I want for my future generations. This is what I want for my kids. I want them to go to school, I want them to graduate. But I really didn't reflect on being first generation until after I really finished school.
I mean, I felt proud that I was gonna be able to do something and accomplish it,
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's what I mean, like they help and help you in getting your degree, in the fact that, I mean, in the way that they know that you're pretty much probably a first generation graduate.
What impact has being first gen have had on you, even outside of college?
So when I was growing up, that we didn't have a lot of Hispanic um, students in school. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was the majority of it was white. I feel like everybody else kind of expected me, like, she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it. You know, and so it kind of motivated me. And then for a while, and then like the numbers started growing, like of Hispanics and so forth. And then for a while there, I did teach high school Spanish during my teaching career, and so you know, I would always, and not just Hispanic, sure, but like everybody, I'm like, you really need to go to college. It was almost as if because I was first gen, like the bar was raised even higher, not just for me, but for everyone that I interacted with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and I, I guess that's the best way to describe it. It just kind of set the bar higher because it's, you just have to really have a motivation and a drive to do it. You know, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like, oh well, this person can't do it because they don't have this or that. No, I mean, if there's always a way, and I think that that just really changed my outlook on my kids, my own children, and then any kind of child that I interact with. I'm like, and you know, don't get me wrong, I know that things are changing and college is not for everybody, but I
Mm-hmm.
just, I don't want people to like just throw it out.
Right.
You know, just consider it, you know, and you'll figure out what's best for you. But I guess it's that drive where you just want to push everybody to, whether it's college or whatever, you know, make
Yeah.
the most of yourself. And I don't want to like beat a dead horse, but like, you know, being Hispanic as a minority in a town growing up like that, I mean, it's hard because a lot of people doubt you. Everybody has an opportunity. And if, you know, jump on it if you can.
Oh, it's had a big impact.
Mm.
I would say that again, you know, I became an educator, and I impact the community, as far as my students, as you know, being able to provide them with things, such as supplies, um, or even just being a male teacher, being able to provide a quote unquote father figure for these students, because
Mm.
some of them do come from, you know, single parent families, in that way. So um, in that, I guess what I mean, that would be one of the biggest impacts that I feel that I've come, you know, to do.
I would say that it just impacts me in like, cause I take care of my cousins and I help my cousin take care of them, of course.
Yeah.
And I would say that it just impacted me just knowing that being first generation is that it is possible. Just knowing
Mm.
that um, even though we had financial struggles growing up, being in a single parent home, um, there are ways if you really set your mind to it and you really set and you really determine that you want to do something with your life. And it doesn't have to be college, it could be trade school, it could be
Yeah.
different types
Sure.
of schools, or getting certificates and stuff. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I truly believe that if you set your mind to something, you really put forth the effort in doing something, to make a better life for you and for future
Mm-hmm.
generations, that it is possible, you know. And I definitely want to give glory to God, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
He provided everything that I needed to get through school and to get through the hardships, of taking care of family,
Yeah.
as well as going through school and working two jobs at sometimes, you know, because again, like we didn't always get financial aid, or we didn't always get
Mm-hmm.
everything we needed to pay for the school, especially at the university level,
Yeah.
that, you know, I had to work to do it. So I think just being first generation now, looking back, how the impact is that, and the message that I would give to younger kids or to future first generations is that it is possible. You know, if you really want
Mm-hmm.
to set your mind to going to college, is that where there's a will, there's a way, is what I would say.
The fact that, you know, like I said, just leading the way, hopefully for other generations in our family, other family members to go, you know, she can do it, then I can do it, you know, and you know, I'm here if anybody had like questions or if they need guidance or whatever. You know, if they had questions like, I'm going to go to UTSA, what do you suggest here? What do you do here? I'm going to go to St. Philip's and do that. And then I would suggest to do the 2+2 plan. We just make sure any classes that you take transfer over, you know, and things like that. Just to, you know, because I've been there, done that, and if I can help somebody, it's great.